Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with G, co-founder of Maverick, and Barry Jenkins, realtor in residence and team power user of Maverick. Maverick is a company that's transforming the real estate industry with data-driven reporting, automation, and AI tools. Maverick is empowering brokerages and agents to accelerate their revenue, enhance lead conversion, and optimize team performance with lots of tools that we'll get into in today's call. So we're going to dive into the solutions that Maverick offers and how they're changing the game for real estate professionals. So, G, I want to start with you. Can you tell me a little bit about your background? I've only heard bits and pieces. How did you get started in the real estate industry?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been in this industry basically half my adult life at this point. I joined a company called Tiger Lead Solutions as the head of marketing and product. This was back in 2009. And, Tiger Lead was kind of the OG of the all-in-ones. We kind of gave birth to that Sync and Boomtown type of space. And, we built an amazing business there, sold that business in 2012. We started Ylopo in 2015. And for those of you guys not familiar with Ylopo, it's the last 5 letters of the word monopoly backwards because we're turning real estate on its head. And Ylopo has become a huge driver for team success. Over 30,000 agents on our platform, 3,000 teams. And that business was really about the consumer journey. How do you generate leads? How do you nurture those leads? How do you communicate with those leads, ultimately to get to closings? And, the battle that we had always had with our clients was when we had clients who were unsuccessful in the platform, we looked at their business. We saw a lot of holes in how they operated their business, managed their pipeline, managed their teams, trained their agents up, etc. And so we went to our best clients, our top converting clients in the industry. We said, well, what do you guys do? What's your playbook? And they were kind enough to share with us their playbook. And we would write, Barry and I would write, 10-page guides of here's exactly the manual you as a team need to operate on in order to be successful. And we would do webinars on it, we would do courses on it, and we would give it to the agent, and then we check back in a couple months later and say, hey, you're crushing it, right? Like, you implemented the systems. And pretty much no one did, right? Because it's hard, it's not easy. And so in about 3 years ago now, almost 4 years ago now, we decided, hey, can we turn what makes teams successful into software, right? Can we automate this in such a way that it would make it easy for teams to just basically implement the best practices of what makes high converting teams high converting, with easy buttons, right? And that really is the genesis of Maverick, right? And so that's my perspective on the business. Really excited. We kind of officially launched in May, and we've tripled the business since then. And so we're really excited about introducing it to your audience. Barry, you want to add to that?
I've been in the business 26 years now, 26, right around there, since I was 18, so quite some time. I have a teamerage of 80 agents, and I work full-time as well with the team at Ylopo and Maverick. And what's really great is I get to complain. And normally when you complain, people are like, can you be quiet? And G and the engineers are like, hold on a second, we can have a robot fix that. And so that's essentially what Maverick's become. It's like the lead manager, you hire someone to manage your leads, and an ops person, right? And, that does reporting and analyzing the numbers. And to have, and the sales manager of coaching your agents and saying, hey, you should have done better. Having all that in one, seamlessly bolted onto Follow Up Boss, and I believe other CRMs later, but right now Follow Up Boss. And, it's really helped me to crystallize my training in my organization. And I can give you some examples if you want, but just where instead of guessing or asking them what's wrong, I can go into each meeting with exactness with regards to data, numbers, results, objections they're hearing, all that stuff. And I can really move the needle very quickly. And it's proven to be true already in the last 90 days.
Yeah. So G mentioned that when you first worked with the team at Ylopo, you were working together to create guides for agents. And so you really became a power user and sort of the teacher, you call like Professor
Yeah.
Barry,
Yeah.
teaching people how to maximize their sales and increase their deals. So what inspired you to decide, like you've already created all these systems that work really well for you that you're training on. What inspired you to start using Maverick for your own team instead of continuing to use the systems you already were?
Yeah, that's a great question. I really believe that software and AI is not the silver bullet. It's not going to get rid of me or any of my peers. I do believe, however, that teams that leverage AI and software such as Maverick, they're going to move at a much faster pace. They're going to move at a much more efficient pace. And ultimately, not only will that gain market share, but also increase profitability. And so, for me, to a fault, I love making things easy. Okay. That's how I got my whole gig in the real estate ecosystem was automation. And that's how I became known because I love to make things simple. And Maverick has taken some complex problems that I was working on and many complex problems that I didn't even have the time to think about. And it's putting in one place for me. So when he brought it to my attention, I was like, this is a no-brainer. Like, sign me up.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. So I'd love to get into the nitty-gritty of Maverick, whether Barry, you're sharing use cases of how you use it, or G, I'm not sure who'd be the best person to ask. I'd love to dive into first the Pro Dispatch tool that Maverick provides. Can you share what that is and how you use it?
Yeah. Would it be helpful if I showed it on a screen, or do you want to
Yeah,
talk?
that'd be great. Yeah,
Okay.
we've
Uh,
got lots of visual learners watching.
yeah, perfect. So let me get to the Pro Dispatcher. Sorry if it's taking a little bit here. Here we go. Yeah, so in when we look at Maverick, we're trying to solve the global problem of how do we make the sales manager position as automated as possible to give sales managers leverage. And in smaller teams, if you don't have a sales manager, then the team leader is the sales manager, right?
Hmm.
And from that perspective, there are three things that Maverick focuses on. The first is sales coaching and sales grading, which we'll talk about, I'm sure, in a second. The second is leadership analytics, making sure you know what's going on with your team. And the third is agent workflows, right? How do we make your agent's job easier? And that's where the Pro Dispatcher comes in, and it's extremely powerful. And with agent workflows, we typically look at it as new leads, old leads, right? What are you doing with your new leads? What are you doing with your old leads? And when it comes to new leads, the insight we found is that the typical way that new leads are distributed to agents is either first to claim or round robin, right? That's kind of follow boss 101. And the problem with round robin, of course, is you're getting leads out to people who may not be able to contact them at any given moment. The problem with first to claim is that typically the agents that have the time to sit there and grab a lead are not your best agents, right? They're the agents that have the time to be sitting there and actually grabbing the lead. Your best agents are out there in the field working, right? And so with Pro Desk Dispatcher, our insight here is we want our team leaders to be able to configure on a per agent basis exactly the type of leads and the volume of leads they're eligible to receive, right? So within our system, a team leader is going to come here and they're going to say, Agent X is a new agent. They're only able to get 15 leads this month. They're only able to work leads in these locations, in these price points, with these specialties. And so when a new lead comes in, we rank all of the eligible agents that are able to receive that lead. And then we say who has the highest conversion rate and who has the highest activity rate for this particular lead source. And then based on that, we rank the agents and we dispatch these leads one by one to the agents that qualify and say, give them 10 seconds to accept, right? So ranked agent number one, here's a text message. Do you accept this lead? If you don't, we go to the next agent, to the next agent, to the next agent until someone accepts, right? And so at any given time, your best agent is receiving the opportunity, if they're available, to work that particular lead. And what we've seen with this technology, especially important for portal teams, is that, for instance, the Gary Ashton team in Nashville, their conversion rate for portal leads went from like 6-7% up to 11% because they tilted the odds by getting the best leads to the best agents.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I think lead routing is one of the most inefficient processes most teams across the country have. It's either I want to automate it, so let's do round robin. I want to automate it, let's do first to claim. In either instance, it's about fairness. That's the optic that lead routing
Mhm.
has been based off of. What this has done is the dynamic equivalent of when, as a team owner, I get a referral. And let's say it's a waterfront luxury home, right? And I've got to think quickly who on my team is right for a luxury waterfront property over $1 million. And then I think about it. I'm like, oh, yeah, for whatever criteria I have in my mind, this is who I'm going to go with. And I hand it to that agent. To have software handle that thought process to me at scale for every single opportunity that's surfaced through my ISA team, it's a big deal.
What sort of data does Maverick access and read to determine, like here on the screen, you probably are saying Tyler is the first agent we want to send this lead to because he's the most qualified. What
Yep.
sorts of metrics is Maverick looking at to determine Tyler is the best agent to get the option first?
Yeah, so we're looking at first and foremost the lead box, right? So who is eligible to receive this lead? So if this lead was, as we said here, $100 to $300,000 home in New York, they're a single family property. Okay, Tyler's eligible to receive this lead. He's only gotten 8 leads this month. He's eligible to receive 15, so he has this opportunity, right? The second thing we do is we look at for Tyler across this particular lead source, which is Zillow, what is their conversion rate on this particular lead source, right? And then we look at activity level. What is their activities this month against this particular source of leads in their system to say, are they actively working leads right now, right? Obviously, conversion rate ranks higher than activity level. And so we're looking at basically their conversion rate based on TMS data, transaction management data for this particular lead source over a cohort of time. And then we're looking at activity level over that time.
Yeah, that's incredible. And what we'll find, if people are watching this will examine their businesses, more than likely they've been handing their top performer all the opportunities. When I say top performer, I'm talking about top closings, not conversion rate. And so
Mm-hmm.
basically, whoever always sells the most is who I'm going to give my best leads to. And when you examine their conversion rates, because they've gotten like lazy in a way, they're just waiting for easy ones, that drops down. So to be able to share that, according to what G just mentioned, it's really going to increase profitability and closings pretty quickly.
Yeah. And so whenever you're calling this dynamic lead routing, the word dynamic means what you explained a little bit earlier, where if Tyler doesn't accept or decline, or if he declines, it goes to the next person for, you said 10 seconds, or I'm guessing the sales manager or team leader can designate how long they want to wait. Is
That's
that what dynamic means in this case?
Exactly. Yep. Yep. And so that's configurable on the agent's part. And exactly like you said, they're getting a chance to accept the lead. And if they don't, it moves on to the next person, or if they decline, it moves on to the next person.
Great. So I'd love to now look at your next tool, the AI Sales Coach. How are our teams utilizing this feature to help them convert more leads?
Yeah, 100%. So the sales coach, the opportunity that we've identified is that if you look at closings, the number one correlation to closings is sales skills. Pretty obvious, right? And we've analyzed over 180,000 sales calls at this point, and probably more than 200,000 as of today. What we found is that agents that scored in their sales skills, and I'll explain how we score in a second, in the top 25%, produce 2x more closings than people who score 50%, right? So if you could move instantly your 50% average performer, not even to say your bottom 25% performer, to being a top 25% performer, you will immediately 2x your conversion rate, right? And so the question is, how do you do that? Well, today, if you talk to a team about how they increase their sales skills, it's typically one-on-one coaching, finding role play partners, training manuals and scripts. I mean, the number of scripts books that Barry has created and books that Barry has created on scripting is insane. But the most common is training on the job, right? You have a new agent, you give them 25 opportunities, you say, oh, hey, talk to these guys, see what happens. Well, it might take them 3 to 6 months to enhance their sales skills, But the problem is you've burned hundreds of leads at that point that you paid a lot of money for, right? And so it's a huge investment by the agent and leadership in order to learn on the job. What we're doing on the Ylopo side is, first and foremost, we go into your Follow Up Boss account and we download all of your recorded calls for all of your agents. And what we're doing with that recording is we are lifting out the insights of that call to understand what happened, right? So we're looking at, for instance, the sentiment of the call. We're looking at what objections were being raised. How did you respond to those objections? Did the lead ask for the appointment, right? What was the talk time of the consumer versus the lead? So all of these metadata points. And what we do is we derive an objective score of the quality of that call based on all of these metadata points, right? And so as a team leader, what you're able to do come into Maverick is to understand the average call quality of your entire team and how they're performing against all of their sales skills. And then you're able to stack rank your agents based on their sales skills, right? So for the first time, you have an objective measure of who your top 25% of salespeople are, 50%, 25%, whatever that cohort ends up being. So first part of Sales Coach is in understanding what is the current sales performance of your team. Barry, anything to add here?
Yeah, a lot. First of all, this is a problem for all sales organizations in every industry, but specifically in real estate. How well are your teams speaking to prospects on the phone? And what I have discovered is that most teams while they realize it's a problem, they aren't doing a lot about it. And what I mean by that is they're not actually listening to all the calls. And there's just not enough time in the day. So this is a big problem, and it's one we currently aren't trying to solve for. But what I've discovered, and I'll just be transparent with you, in my organization, I went through a period where I was reading this, 4 out of 10 conversations in my organization with new leads. So 4 out of those 10 conversations with new leads, we were asking to meet face to face. And of those 4 out of 10, about 1.5 to 2, so less than 50%, said yes. So out of 10 conversations, we got 2 appointments, right? So what did I do with this data? I decided that I would just strongly encourage my sales team to ask for the appointment more. And now it's 7 out of 10 conversations. So 7 out of 10 times we're talking to a new lead on the phone, we asked to meet face to face. And really, unsurprisingly, the same amount of people are saying yes. So now we've doubled the number of appointments just as a result of one of these metrics being surfaced from this AI.
So there's a lot of data that you're sharing with the sales manager or the team owner. G, you shared this slide a few slides ago. You shared keywords. What are some other, does Maverick offer suggestions for what a team leader should be doing with all this data?
100%. Yeah. So let me get to the second part of the Sales Coach part, which I think is probably the most used feature on the Maverick platform, which is our AI sales coaching, right? So now your performance of your sales team, great. If you're a great team leader like Barry, you will be able to weaponize that data, right? But most sales teams are like, well, what is the next step? How do I get my agent who's scoring a 3 to an 8, right? And so what we built out is our AI sales coach. The way the AI sales coach works is that for any scenario of lead, let's say it's a buyer lead, a seller lead, it's a portal lead, whatever is the situation, we built out an AI that acts as the consumer, and you are going to, as an agent, have a phone call with that sales coach to role play how you approach that conversation, right? And after that role play, we will tell you exactly how you did and how you can improve. So let me just play a role play video for you so you can kind of hear how a typical conversation goes.
Hello, this is Jesse. Who is this?
Hey, Jesse, it's Daniel. I'm a local real estate agent, and the reason for my call is you connected with our team in the past, and I was just curious. Did you ever end up purchasing a home?
Oh, hey, Daniel. Yeah, I remember. No, I haven't purchased a home yet. I'm still in the market, actually. I've been speaking with an agent recently and starting to look into options more seriously.
Oh, okay, that's great. Really, what's holding you back now?
Well, I'm just trying to be cautious, I want to make sure I find the right place. And honestly, the whole process can be a bit overwhelming. Plus, the agent I've been talking to recently mentioned signing an agreement, and I'm a bit hesitant about that.
That totally makes sense. I'm just curious. What about your home are you currently looking to change?
Yeah, I'm currently renting, and I'm looking to make the leap to owning. I think it's about time I invested in my own place, so I'm not throwing money away on rent anymore.
So you can see here, this is a very typical conversation that you would have with a buyer or seller. We're going to throw objections at you. We're going to make you talk about the buyer agreement that they need to sign. We're having this sophisticated dialogue that you would have with your with the people that you're having on the phone. And so what's happening here is, over say a 6-month period for an agent that's prospecting, how many real hours of conversations are they having with a consumer, right? It's probably 10 hours at most.
Yeah,
With a sales coach, what we're doing is we say, hey, spend 1 week with the sales coach and you're going to get as many reps as you would with 6 months of dialing for dollars, right? And at the end of that process, we have 60 different scenarios that you can role play with. We will give you a grading of that entire conversation. We will tell you where you need to improve on it. And so, what we're seeing is that for agents that are performing poorly, our clients are telling them, hey, go do 10 calls with the sales coach. You're not getting any more Zillow leads until you do ALM properly, right? If you're a new agent onboarding, I'm not going to give you 100 new leads right away. You're going to go do 50 sales coach calls until you score properly on all of these criteria before you get started, right? And with the sales coach, what we're finding, what's interesting is after only 30 days, right, their appointment ask rate on the call increases by 35%. The number of questions they ask increased by 25%. The number of times they successfully discuss the buyer agreement is 2x, and that the overall quality of their sales calls improves by 22%, right? And that's in month 1. So again, sales skills is an instant amplifier to your conversion rate, right? If your salesperson is selling at 3% conversion rate, and then the next month they sell at 4% conversion rate, you see an instant 25% lift in your conversion rate, right? Whereas new leads take 6 to 13 months to season. And so when you buy new leads, you have to be patient. You have to wait for 6 to 13 months to see closings. Well, with Sales Coach, if we increase your salesperson's performance by 25% in month 1, you immediately see that ROI, right? And that's why we think Maverick is such an ROI amplifier really out of the gate as soon as it goes out into the wild.
Yeah, I mean, there is no question. I mean, this is not new information. Having salespeople talk and practice role play increases conversion. This is a very old concept. The problem with role play is that it's awkward. You have to plan ahead and have another human available. You both have to be disciplined. There's a lot of blockers from our agents, our salespeople being able to do this regularly. And candidly, they just don't. Okay. So what I decided to do when we rolled this out was I decided I would start having my team, I would call it homework, right? They're all independent contractors, they're not employees, but I would give them homework each week. All right, guys, you got to call this number X amount of times. If you don't get above a 6, I want you to keep trying. And then when new salespeople join our team, I have them keep calling until they get a good score, right? Never in my 26 years in the industry have I ever, and I'm a teacher of this stuff, I've never been able to move the needle as quickly and as effortlessly as I am now just by having my team talk to robots on the phone and try to get appointments. It's really been interesting because you would think that the robot would, or the AI would not really be able to navigate the conversation from the consumer standpoint, but it's monitoring my salespeople's ability to build rapport. And so I had to practice it in front of my agents, and come to find out the scenario, the AI was looking for a detached garage for a certain amount. and a home with a detached garage. And when I did my discovery, found out that the lead does woodworking. And so I kept prying and asking what kind of woodworking. He builds furniture. What kind of furniture? Like, we went down this whole rabbit hole, right? It's fascinating, the fact that the AI has become such a key component of my sales team's training. I really can't overemphasize how important this was, because my agents are calling at like midnight. They go out, they have fun, and on their way home, they're like, I'm going to try. I mean, it's the weirdest thing. Like, I don't ask them to do that. They're calling at all hours of the day. So it's really been, I mean, all of Maverick is really, I knew it was going to support my business. I knew it was going to help. The AI sales coach moved the needle in a way that I honestly wasn't even looking for. So I'm really excited about this, if you can't tell.
Yeah, well, yeah, not only that, but you're able to get your time back because
Yeah.
you as the team leader, you probably want to be the one that does the role-playing calls, and you can only do so much as a human being, one person, to do role-playing with your team of 88 agents. Like,
Yeah.
it would take you months to get through everybody.
Yeah.
But now with the AI sales coach, you can pass it on, and the AI sales coach can generate all these objections in different scenarios.
So it's interesting you say that, and I don't want to hijack this, but normally the top performers are the ones that get my attention, because they're calling me and they're saying, Barry, can you sit with me and do a role play? And they stand out because they're the top performers, right? Like, they're the ones seeking out the information. What I've learned in business is that it's the movable middle of your sales organization where all your ROI really comes from. If you can get the people that are average at best in performance and average at best in effort, if you can effectively make them a more efficient sales team, getting them one additional transaction a month, you're really going to see some stuff. But to your point, Elena, I don't have time for those people, right? Most top performers just are very demanding. They really want your attention. I don't have time for what probably is the biggest opportunity to grow my business. But those people, I can just notify all of them, right? And that's why I'm so excited about it.
Yeah. G, you skipped over a slide that piqued my interest. I hadn't seen it before. I don't know if you, yes, AI video coaching. What is all of this about?
Yeah, so we're releasing this month to all of our Maverick clients as well. So phone coaching is great. Most of our clients are on phones all day, but you need to practice in-person skills as well, right? And believe it or not, we have advanced AI to such a degree that you can have video training on listing presentations and buyer presentations with an AI. So this is, as always, very cloned as an AI. So you're actually going to be speaking to a celebrity.
Please go ahead and give your pitch on how you plan to sell my home at a premium.
Hey Barry, here's the goal for today. I want to walk you through everything it's going to take to sell your home at a premium. How does that sound?
Sounds good. I'm ready to hear your approach. But before you start, can you tell me what your commission rate will be for this sale?
My standard rate is 2.75%.
2.75% is a bit higher than I was expecting. I've worked with other agents who have offered more competitive rates. Can you tell me what makes your 2.75% rate worth it?
So not only are agents able to practice their phone skills, but they're going to be able to practice their in-person skills as well. And all of this is graded. All of this is providing feedback. And we just think this takes the sales coach to the next level.
Do you have plans for the AI video coaching? Like in this example you're showing, it's a picture of the realtor talking. Do you have plans to do video to video and then
this
the
is
AI?
video to video. Yeah, we just mocked this up, but you will be basically, it'll be a full screen Zoom that you are doing with Barry or the sales coach, and we're obviously going to be able to clone anyone, right? If the team wants it to be them doing the coaching, they can do that as well.
Yeah. So like, that's what to me is so exciting about this, right? Like, for me right now, the example is me, but like, if let's say a friend of mine, Mary owns a brokerage of 100 agents. Well, Mary's going to want to be the video trainer, not me. So it's like they're spending time with Mary, right? Mary's teaching them, but it's not Mary, it's her video clone. And so then there's a recruiting component to this that's really exciting, because they feel like they're spending time with their team owner and their team owner is doing something else. So really cool stuff.
What are your thoughts on having the option to not only do the coaching with the team leader, but also with a stranger, because they may, I don't know, for me, if I were talking to someone I knew, I would be less nervous than if it were just like a brand new face
Sure.
of a stranger.
That's an
Yeah.
interesting perspective for sure.
Yeah. I mean, the beauty of this technology is we can clone anyone, right? So eventually you're going to have a menu of options to choose from. Who do you want to be your avatar that you're communicating with? So I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. How is Maverick, how are sales managers and team leaders using Maverick for accountability? Are there any sort of like automated or recommended consequences that team leaders are putting in place when expectations aren't met?
Totally. Yeah. So you're leading me right next down this user journey here. So when it comes to team accountability, right, there's two sides to it. One is analytics, understanding how your business is functioning. And the second is, rules, essentially, how you want leads to be worked, right? And so on the rules part, I'll talk about the analytics part in a second. On the rules part, we have our Maverick rules and alerts platform. The way this platform works is we have worked with the top coaches, top clients, realtor residences to create a set of rules by which agents should be working their database and working their leads, right? So rules can be new lead created in the last 24 hours. It could be showing a request that hasn't been responded in 48 hours, whatever is the case. And with our rules and alerts dashboard, we're going to surface all of the rules and all of the leads and the people who are violating those rules, right? So these red columns right here are leads that are violating those rules. And so all the team leader needs to do is when they have a particular rule that they want their agents to work and turn this red into green, they press this nudge button. And what it does is it contacts all of the assignees of the 43 rules that are in the pending and past due stage. And when they press confirm, what we're going to do is send a text and email and create a smart list for the agent of all of their, what we call nudges, right? And we tell the agent, hey, here's exactly what you need to do with this particular lead in order to, clear this particular rule, right? And so the agent has clear guidelines for the team leader telling them, here are 25 leads based on all of the different rules that you are currently violating. Here's what you need to do with these rules in order to clear this particular action. And if the agent doesn't do that, the accountability metric is reassigned, right? Because the next day, let's say you have a showing request that hasn't been responded in 48 hours, you've nudged the agent to do that, they haven't done that, you press the reassign button and you can reassign that lead to another agent or to another pond, right? And so for the first time, there's an accountability mechanism, but a action item, a consequence, if that rule is not followed.
Yeah, I mean, I know for me, I talked about the Maverick being a lead manager, right? And as a lead manager, which most team owners are, their own lead manager, you log in, you compulsively examine Follow Up Boss or whatever your respective CRM is, and look for missed opportunities. Where did my team blow it, right? And, to have something look for 19 different rules, that's how many rules there are in Maverick, 19 different scenarios, and give me the ability to click one button and send a text and an email to all of those agents. We're talking about hundreds of missed opportunities. I mean, even really like egregious ones, like the lead called you back and you didn't call them back. You wouldn't think that happens a lot. It does, like a lot actually. So 19 of those rules, I click one button. And then so we do it on Monday. On Friday, we've done a soft rollout. It took us a few months to get here, but on Friday, I can look at one of the rules that shows me everybody that I've nudged that the agent didn't action on. So for example, in this scenario, on Monday, the lead did not get called back. If they haven't called them back by Friday, I'm reassigning the lead. And last week we reassigned 200 and I reassigned them, this is what I decided to do, to an ISA. My ISA called all 200 people. And all the ISA said was, hey, just this client care coordinator, did you ever find a home? If they say no, then my ISA was instructed to say, got it. How's your agent doing? If my agent is brought up by name by the lead, we assign it back. We're doing them a solid. Something they did was right. But the majority of the time, I would say like 190 out of 200, they did not remember.
Mm-hmm.
And as it stands right now, we have a 15% appointment ratio with old leads that were neglected for months to my new salespeople. So, listen, yeah, it saves time clicking the nudge button. And so, yeah, that's cool, right? But where this is interesting now is this level of accountability, how it's impacted my organization. My sales team is afraid of losing opportunities, and therefore they're trying harder. So when we talk about AI and all this stuff, we only think about the time savings, but honestly, that's not it. It's how comprehensive the reporting is and how effortless it is to action on it. It's restructured the fabric of my sales team. And so a year from now, if we were to do a checkup, how's it going? What you're going to watch happen is I'm going to come on here again and say, hey, the iterative impact of these changes is a growth during a challenging market by X amount of percent. I guarantee it because I'm already watching it unfold.
I love that. G, towards the beginning of our call, you were showing, you showed the example of the AI sales coach in this specific scenario buyer agency agreement. So I love that you're staying on top of the trends. How is Maverick staying on top of other trends happening in the real estate industry to ensure that the entire platform of Maverick is staying relevant?
Yeah, great question. So with Ylopo, right, our consumer oriented platform, meaning we are generating consumers on behalf of agents, a lot of the insight around the product comes from what people are doing, right? Meaning, hey, people are migrating to TikTok. We better be advertising there. People are migrating to YouTube. We better be advertising there. What's great about Maverick is it's agent driven, right? And so every single day, our clients are coming to us and giving us feedback on what they want to see, right? So that gives us a really strong feedback loop to figuring how to improve the product. Now, we are obviously always on the lookout for novel technology that are surprise and delight our clients, but we have a great prioritized list of what clients want to see, right? So the video coaching, as an example, came out of talking to clients who said, hey, phone role play, that's fantastic, but what if we could practice our listing presentations because we're having problems with doing that? And that's the insight that drove the video coaching, right? The other thing that's really interesting I want to get into is leadership analytics. So, in terms of keeping your team accountable, you got to know your actual business, what's going on, right? And so with our analytics platform, we will present the data to the agents or to the team leader on what's going on with their sales team, right? So we give high level stats like what is your best lead source? Are your agents nurturing their leads? One of the insights that's really interesting from a team management perspective is when should you be calling your leads, right? This chart is really interesting. It's really emblematic of a typical team. The yellow line here is when agents are actually placing calls on your team, right? The blue line is when are consumers actually picking up and talking to your agents, right? Well, what we found is that the time that agents are making the vast majority of their calls is noon, lunchtime, right? Well, when is the lowest pickup rate and conversation rate with consumers? Lunchtime, right? And when are consumers actually willing to talk to agents? Evening time, right? When are agents actually making calls? Not during the evening time, right? So by having this type of visibility into your systems, teams are able to recalibrate simple things like when they staff their, power hours, right? To make sure they're having the right conversation. So we're surfacing a lot of those analytics, right? I won't go through all of them because there's so many. We integrate with your transaction management system so we can give you full dashboarding on your business. You know what your GCI is, you know what your overall volume is. You can compare month over month, quarter over quarter. We tell you all of your lead sources, how are they performing, right? As you know, our mutual clients, our clients are buying Ylopo leads, Zillow leads, Realtor.com leads, any given source of leads. Well, how is that investment actually paying off? How much money are you making from it? What's your GCI? Who's your what is your best performing agents on any given lead source? We track all of those things, right? We go into sales manager reporting pipelines. We look at how your pipeline is looking for every agent and make it easily visible. This person has all greens that are working through their pipeline. They're very successful. Great. This person is all reds. I got to examine what's going on, right? We give individual agent report cards, so you can talk to an agent on a one-on-one and tell them exactly what their strengths and weaknesses are. One of our favorite accountability metrics is we send a weekly email to the agent and we tell them, here are your stats and here is where you rank on the team. Right? So there's full visibility into, for every team member, exactly how they stack up. They're never surprised, right? And so there's a lot of analytics as well within the platform that is driving decision making. And we're getting feedback from teams all the time about what else they would like to see within this entire process.
Yeah, and we've got between Maverick and Wailopo, 8 or 9 realtors in residence or active realtor coaches. So, part of the genius, in my opinion, of what Wailopo's done is they hire great engineers, great product managers, great ideators, and then they've got an entire department of subject matter experts. And so instead of just asking the masses, like all 1,000 or 2,000 or 10,000, whoever, like, what do you guys all want? Like, to be able to have people that are running very successful businesses and are living in two worlds, to be able to speak directly into product, what it means is G's able to find really cool tech, be able to get into the lab with actual practitioners in the business, and we're able to come up with really exciting use cases that are solving problems that, like in Maverick's case, a lot of these problems were problems that nobody was looking to solve because nobody really thought that it was possible. And so, from my perspective, that's how the progress of the product continues to stay ahead of the curve of the business.
Right. Like to your point, the example you shared of a lead calling and the agent didn't call back, there really wasn't any way to automate a check on that agent before this.
Exactly. So it's really exciting. And like the fact that we were all worried about that as business owners, like, are my agents getting back to people? And I know the software is doing a good job when I don't have a lot of stuff to do when I log into Follow Up Boss. I'm serious. Like I log in, I'm like, I don't have to do anything. Now, I'm not saying I never have to do anything. What I'm saying is that nervous compulsion that used to be kind of persistent in my business, because Follow Up Boss represents my revenue. And to have something doing that for me, I walk into my sales meetings now. I mean, I don't know if you're going to go over it, but it actually tells me the objections my sales team has. So it listens to all the conversations and prioritizes which objections are coming up the most. So I walk in, I'm like, hey, you guys been listening to the calls, got the data. Here's the 3 things I know you've been hearing. I look like a rock star. And all I did was look at a screen in Maverick.
Yeah. So G, as we wrap up this conversation, can you share any other upcoming features? I know that you have a huge slide deck that we haven't been able to get through everything, but what are maybe 1 or 2 other upcoming developments that you're working on?
Yeah, so a lot of what we're doing at this point is we just released the product, at scale in May, right? And we are fine tuning how each of these components work. So as an example, we have a grading rubric for all of our calls. We are making a custom rubric. So you can say, hey, you know what? I want to prioritize ALM for Zillow, right? I want to prioritize them dealing with objections. And so you can customize all of your scoring. With our rules engine, for instance, we have 19 rules that we built out that we think are really valuable based on the feedback from all of our realtor residences as an example. But we're building out custom rules. So you can design your own rules that you want to work your database by, right? So there's a lot of polish coming to this product based on client feedback, and it's only getting better because of it. Now, we obviously have, a lot of AI related features that we want to bring to the system as well. But it's really a glove in hand fit in terms of how we're collaborating with agents.
I lied. I thought of one more question before we wrap up. What does the support look like from the team at Maverick? Like, you're about to release the ability for people to create custom rules specific to the business model that this team operates in. Do you have currently or plans to offer some sort of support or success manager type roles where the sales manager essentially has their own, I don't even know what to call the role, but a sales manager has their own consultant that's telling them how to utilize the platform?
Yeah, great question. So we have, a amazing support infrastructure for Maverick. We have right now a 50-to-1 ratio of success manager to client, which, if we're talking about SaaS businesses that are out there, that's insane, right? Like in terms of how much support you're getting. So we have success managers that are invested in the success of our clients. Just like Ylopo, what we found is the most helpful is to have team leaders train team leaders, agents train agents, right? So we have a whole coterie of realtor residences specifically for Maverick. Obviously, we've got our big dogs like Barry who crosses the lane, but we have our own realtor residences, and we're doing masterminds, right? So for the first time in Unlock, for example, I believe we're doing a mastermind for Maverick clients. We plan to do a lot more of those because we frankly learn a lot about what we need to do to enhance the product in those sessions, right? So I think Maverick, because it is a coaching platform, is going to, have a lot of coaching elements within that from the community, right? So we're really excited about that. But of course, we're investing a ton of resources to make sure our clients are trained up and using the system properly as well.
I love that. So if someone wants to learn more about Maverick, where's the best place to go to do that?
Yeah, so MaverickRE.com is our website. We explain all of our products and features there. Just come to the website, request a demo, and our team will discuss with you all of our options. Last thing I'll say, is Maverick, I think you're going to find this entire platform to be incredibly cost effective. Our revenue accelerator platform, which is for a team of 5, is $375, right? Our pro product, which includes the transaction management for integration for a team of 10, is $750, right? So if you think about the cost of a sales manager, we're talking orders of magnitude more money, right? And so we just want to get this in the hands of all of our clients. We think this is going to accelerate their business. It's going to accelerate, selfishly, their ability to buy leads and do all the other marketing that they need to do, right? But we see this as a product that we want to get to as many teams as we possibly can.
Yeah, you're not only alleviating the need for a sales manager in this capacity, but honestly, it's probably going to do 100 times better than a sales manager would have done anyway.
Spoken like someone in the trenches. Yes, very much so. Because a lot of this wasn't being done. I mean, it just wasn't. But
yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you, Barry, and thank you, G, for sharing more about Maverick. And thank you, Barry, for sharing how you're using it specific to your team. I'm sure a lot of people will find this explanation really helpful.
Excellent. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks. Take care, you both. Bye-bye.
Bye.